Hey y'all, my name's T, and today I wanted to talk about Eriain and Reed's lore. I know I've been saying I will do this forever, and I'm finally doing it now. So yeah. Their lore is mostly Eriain because Reed I don't totally like shove him behind the bush because I don't know what his backstory is like. But I won't really be delving into Eriain's backstory either, so it's they kind of match. It's okay. But yeah, without further ado, I suppose I shall get yapping. From a game of tag, Eriain has her leg crushed and under a carriage wheel, and that leaves her with a scar. And it's kind of a main plot point, but not really, because, yeah. But it does leave her kind of hobbling around, because one of her legs is really painful and crushed, so, yeah. But when she's about 21, she gets summoned to the castle in Kythia, which is the plant-based island of the Isles of Concordia, which isn't its set name, but that's what I'm going to call it for now, because that's the best name I've come up with, because their king is dying of some unknown illness, and despite the people hating him, they won't have a fit ruler, because the queen is sick as well, but since he is not her husband, and her husband sadly died in the war between Kythia and the other border of Kythia, which was more a place based on like evolution of technology and that type of thing. But they wanted to cut down the trees, so Kythia was like, hell no, war. So they did go to war for that, and that is why Queen Valen's husband died in that war, and the head general, like, you need a husband, so they're married, but she doesn't like him. No one likes him, but Eriain doesn't know that, so she scurries over to Kythia anyway, because why not? Nothing to lose, right? So she goes over there, and when the boat she's on docks, she meets this man named Malcolm. I love Malcolm. He is such a side character, and I so love him. But he is sort of her personal advisor and helper, like butler guy, you know. So he shows her around, and then when she finally meets the king, he's like, you're far too young to be in this job, and she's like, I have nothing to lose. So he's kind of iffy about her healing him, but she does it anyway. And in this process, it drains her magic so abruptly, and by so much of it, because she doesn't want to be turned down and get sent back home, because why would she do that? But after the first session of her healing the king, she gets summoned to the study of the advisor of magic, who is the guy we all hate. I don't like him. He sucks. Boo. But she gets summoned there, and that is where she meets Reed for the first time, because he, once a scribe of no interest to anyone, was drugged of sorts by the advisor of magic to have given magic of Kythia, and no one wants this because it degrades your body, but he doesn't know that, and neither does Eriain. But Eriain is told she will be his listener, which is kind of just, she knows his thoughts and his dreams, and they're like, yeah, okay. So they become well acquainted, because why wouldn't they? He's literally talking to her all of the time. And one night, he comes to her room with a bad dream, waking her up from her own nightmare. And they go out to the roof to talk about his dream, because why would he care about what she's dreaming? But it is her job to care about what he is dreaming. So they go up to the roof and they start talking and get more acquainted, and they genuinely like each other after that. But Eriain, back home, had married for convenience, and despite the fact that this guy and her were like, if we want to marry anyone else, we're allowed, because this is just so people can stop bugging us about marriage. She's like thinking to herself that she is married, and this is kind of disobeying the rules of the basic marriage, though it's not disobeying the rules of her own, because they made the agreement that they could both of them could split off if they wanted to go marry someone they actually loved. But she thinks she's breaking the rules. So it takes her a while to finally grow to like Reed in the way of love. So before she grows to actually enjoy his company, when the advisor of magic says that she will be in charge of a ritual in which a fraction of Reed's blood is extracted and given to the gods to regenerate as magical ichor, she does so until when she starts actually enjoying his company and realizing that this is actually hurting him more than it is helping. In that case, she stops and starts giving the sacrifice her own blood, which, since she has not been given the magic part of it, will not be regenerated as magical blood, but regular blood. So it doesn't do much to her except make her kind of iron deficient and weak for the next few weeks. Reed hates that she's doing this, but she refuses to stop because he's killing himself by doing this. But she is also not making her situation any better, because in her way of healing the king, because his illness is unknown, she doesn't have much way to use her regular knowledge, of which she has a lot. So she uses magic because it would take far too long to figure out what illness he actually has. But in the process of using her magic, she is using too much, and it is making her intensely weak. So Reed decides that he will preemptively give his blood to the sacrifice and tell her not to, and to her belief, they are simply ignoring the advisor of magic and not giving anything to the gods, which would, in the end, make them mad. So, genuinely, but in the end, when she grows too weak by healing Lazarus, and Reed grows weaker and weaker by the day because he is giving his magic to the gods, which ultimately is taking over his body, and ends up drawing all of his life essence from him, and he turns to stone. Eriain suffers through giving her magic to the king, and also the loss of her husband, because they got married in secret in the garden. And their rings, which are simply gold rings with the engraving of forever on the inside. These rings were made for them because they are not supposed to be together, and Malcolm pulled so many strings, and they could say those rings are for anyone, and they just happen to have the same one, because it is a very simple design, and no one could tell. But Reed ultimately is taken by the god, and nothing is left of him but a overgrown statue in the cellar of the castle where the blood sacrifice takes place. In the end, Eriain requests to Malcolm that she would love to be buried by the statue of her lover. And when she's overworked herself to the limit of her magic, it stretches too thin, and she ends up dying in the room of King Lazarus. It is said that the faithful Malcolm still wields the rings, but they hang around his neck or in his vest pocket at all times, close to his heart. This is my final drawing, and also I really hope you have this is my final drawing. I hope you like it. I really hope that this lore made a ton of my animations make sense. Though it's not stationary lore. It could change. It might not be reliable in a bit, but the main basis of it probably will be. So, yeah. I hope you have a good day. And if you would like, you can drop a like and a comment or a subscribe. Yeah, I would love to hear your feedback or your ideas or your headcanons of them. They are currently my favorites. So, I hope you have a good day, y'all. And bye. See you in the next one.